Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Magical Mischief Tour, Part 4. Today, I figure we're going to get a little bit started in some magic. We also will probably be getting into a whole lot of stuff. So let's start by looking at the list. That's right, it's the only way I can keep myself organized these days is with this list. So that's what's happening. And yes, I did build a little shelter. It started raining at one point and I'm like, oh, I feel sad. So I just put a bunch of like all those trapdoors that I had. I made a couple more and set out a little shelter for him, you know, or her, it as it is, and figured that we could go from there. I also, just as a side note, have been trading with the Dwarf Blacksmith on and off. Whenever there is an availability, actually I think there we go. I will take a stack of those out. To trade, I will take all that I can for the redstone, because I've got so much redstone now. I don't want to use the other ones. I did end up trading some lesser Fey gems that I got from one of these trades to get a diamond pick, and then I upgraded my pickaxe. Speaking of things getting out of my inventory, let's go over the schematics. In my last run down in the depths, I found a couple schematics from Tetra. By having these in these little, like, what do you call it, the racks for Tetra near, like, within a block radius of the workbench, you can then use those things. Like, so in this case I've got a sturdy guard, in this case I've got a throwing knife. Basically having these things near a Tetra workbench, you can then craft those new options with those accessible. But I'm not going to be doing that because I'm not interested in either one of those, but that's just how that works. We're going to continue on. I do have, where is it, in my backpack, an ocarina. So you use the ocarina with a sneak click on a mount of yours. And then when you need that mount, you call them to you. The only thing is, I don't know if this area needs to be loaded or not, but one way or another, I can call my Drake to me. Teleport Drake is fun. Let me repark you over here. It's a little bit low clearance, but I think you'll be all right. You stay there, okay? Probably would be a wise idea to make a weirding gadget. If you're not familiar with those, it is this little device here, made with a whole lot of gold, eye of ender, and iron ingot, and it will load a 3x3 chunk area. And if you want to know your chunk areas, just hit F9 a couple times. It'll show you the chunk boundaries that you have stuff going in. So it'll load, like, we're in one chunk here. It'll load a 3x3 of those based on wherever it's placed. Then just hit F9 a few times and that goes away. But I'm not placing one of those down because it would use materials I don't want to spend just yet. Soil. Oh my gosh, the soil. I've actually been digging up and replacing the soil. You can see here, it's still been doing well. I placed down a few more out here because I made a bunch more. This is almost done. Very nearly so. If I dug it up right now, it would probably not make it. But if I dig up what I do have, I've got a whole bunch of them now, like 21. In fact, I also made a whole bunch more hopper botany pots. I went around the river and collected a whole lot of stuff for the clay for this, and used a whole bunch of the iron that I got down below with trades from goblin traders. It was really good, like 2-to-1 ratios. So I'm getting a whole bunch of mana and artifice flowers now, which is really good. I'm also getting trees and saplings and wood and such just automatically made, so I don't need to chop those down anymore. And if I really want to, I can probably replace this stuff. Now, as for Evilcraft, I think you remember last time I topped out at 25 buckets. Well, I'm going to try and speed that up a little bit better with the storage options here. Adding in this, plus a couple more, making it 55 buckets, then add that to my 25 buckets. There we go. Now I can hold a bunch more blood. Yes, I could probably put it in a tank, which would be useful, but for now I'm still storing it on here because I don't have much for an Evilcraft setup. I will get into that very shortly, but just not at the moment, and for now I just want to store as much blood as I possibly can. Eidolon. I will be getting into that momentarily. Before I do, let's actually set up a bounty board. I'm going to set up 2 of them, in fact. By default, the pack comes with them set up over here on the left, so it should be easy to find, because they're a very important part for getting some of the really best stuff. So I'm going to need some paper, logs, and planks. And there we go. I have 2 bounty boards, which I can place where I like. There we go. Doesn't look quite as pretty, but at least I can store it in here. Now each one of these will come with, ooh, a decree automatically. That one has a potion seller decree. That's really, really important. And then this one has a leatherworking decree. Now if I wanted to diversify or change out what is in here, I can make decrees. But it is random what your results are. There we go. 3 decrees, and no, they don't stack. But it means that I can put things in here. Let's put in this one and this one. Got fishing, farming, and leatherworking. That's pretty good. And then we've got an uncommon one. Heart of the Sea and Nether Stars. Yeah, this will allow you to fly. So this is a really good decree to get, but it may take a little bit of re-rolling. Now if you don't want one of them, like leatherworking in here, as long as you have a decree in here, you can take that out. And then you can specialize in the ones that you want. In this case, I'm just going to leave all 3 in that place. Let's put this one in here just so we can see what we get. Fletching. That's actually really good. You can get some really nice things for like archery and such. But I'm going to hang on to that one for now. I'm going to put it in my valuables chest because that is soon to go in here at some point. Or probably in here once I get myself one of these. Phantom Membranes and Hearts of the Sea. Oh man, I need to kill me some phantoms because I don't think I've got 2. I'm gonna need a lot more than that. So in order to get the Wings potion bottle, because you cannot craft it in Magical Mischief Tour, it's one of the few recipes we changed. So I've got a bounty board up and running. We do have some other things that I really want to get into for certain, like the market, but that's also going to fall into the bounty board. So if I have 48 potatoes, I can get a penny and 8 pumpkin pies. Actually, how am I doing for potato? Oh, this works. Okay, so first bounty. This is great. Let's grab this one. So I need to grab it out and then just right click it with the stuff in there, you know, to complete the quest. And pow, you get 8 pumpkin pies and a penny. That's great because I'm going to need as much money as possible. All right, so mischief monies, or RCs as they are called in here. They can be used for a lot of different things. You can make, you know, craftable deeds so you can protect your area if you're playing a multiplayer option. You can upgrade them to better monies, you know, like making a nickel and such. But most importantly, if you look at the value of this one here and the recipe that it can be used for, you can make yourself a marketplace, which you can then use other monies to buy trinkets. And if you remember early on in the series, this trinket you started with, so you can get new ones to either replace or add to this one. Now I could probably do this. I should have done this probably 15 levels ago. I'm at level 30 now. I just unlocked it now. I just wasted 15 high level stuff, but oh well, it is now there. I can now add in new trinkets, but not for some time. I just figure it's just going to get more expensive the more XP I get. Alright, let's make ourselves something to hold this money that we can keep with ourselves, and that is going to be a wallet. Now if you open this up, you can then just put it in here. I just shift clicked it in that spot and it says I have 1 mischief money. Yep, tells you the different information and so on about it, but you can also store it in a bauble slot. You'll notice that there's a little wallet icon right here. Oop, there you go, and it is currently in place. And if you look down in the bottom left here, it says 1 RC. And that shows you how much money you have at all times. And you'll definitely need that. I'm saving up for 5 coins so that I can make myself a market at this point. Now there are a whole lot of interesting things I can get into with crock pots and cooking pots and stoves, but I think what I'm going to do is save those plus the DNA sampler and the Undergarden stuff for next time, and instead this time we're going to get into a bit of Eidolon and Evilcraft before we end up exploring into another dimension with some fancy foods. And it looks like the dwarf has leveled up yet again. Currently I did already buy some of this stuff here, but if you look, there's now a summoning contract with the dwarf Blacksmith, which means we can get another dwarfy friend. So let's get some more of these crystals. Gems, excuse me. So here we go, 18 for 1 dwarven blacksmith contract. And if you look, it says you use this scroll on a dwarven anvil, which we have one out here. If you don't know, you can actually just make one with a whole lot of iron and a few lesser fey gems if you really want to, but since I've already found one, I'm saving myself those materials. But let's go with this. And then it's also used in summoning rituals, but can also be used to recapture a summoned fey. So I am doing this real quickly because I'm waiting for some materials to smelt up for the next step with Eidolon. And this is really, really cool. So when I click on here, in my previous experience, it created another dwarven blacksmith. which I might then push in here with the other one so that they can be together, and not be out here making quite such a racket. But let me see. Actually, no, he needs to be within a certain range of the Dwarven Anvil. I didn't even realize that. Okay, so sneak click down here and you get yourself another dwarf. So I now have 2 dwarves. Good stuff. One of them I can trade redstone for the Fey Gems. This guy here, actually let's put this back down. He's got different trades. I have to keep him fed or else he's going to wander off. And steak, chicken, apples, this isn't going to be good. So I guess I need to get apples, and I don't think I have... I've got some for now. Let's do this. Actually, I can trade apples for redstone and then redstone for Fey Gems. Well, this is a really good setup. Okay, let's do this. And kapow! He's fully fed, at least for the day. So I now have a summoning scroll left over. I can use it in a Fey altar to basically summon a pixie and choose an affiliation. I think I will do that another day as well, and not today, because summoning one guy at a time. We've got double dwarf action going on here. It's pretty good. So I'm just gonna level these guys up as I can while I'm doing stuff. What do you mean? Who's beardless friend? Look at this. I have a luxurious beard as well. Maybe it's not as big and fluffy red as yours is, but sir, I beg to differ. Okay, so remember when we leveled up our Ars Ecclesia? Well, this is where it's probably going to be coming in handy. There's a lot of stuff in Eidolon that can be useful, but it is a bit of a trial to get through, to try and get to all those really amazing things. I'm specifically looking for a couple items for now, one of which is a Void Amulet, which isn't too expensive, assuming you can get obsidian, and it will essentially nullify some ranged attacks on you. The other is a Soul Enchanter, and this thing here in the current version that I have, at least, this is going to be amazing. You can continue to add enchantments on enchanted items, and that is really, really strong and powerful. But it is a little bit of a process to get through all this stuff, and we might as well start working in here. And yes, there are monsters, ores. Pewter is what I was specifically waiting on here. I don't think... Well, I've got some stone. I've got some iron. To make pewter, you can also find some structures down below, underground, and you just get yourself a head start, but I have not been quite so fortunate with that. But if you combine lead and iron together, you get pewter blend. Then you just smelt that up. Alright, so I think this will be enough to keep this guy up and out of the way for the moment at least. Sorry, sir, but you're kind of trotting on my feet here, and I realize we've got a contract, but you're just going to have to kind of chill a little bit, alright, till I can expand the living arrangements. There's only a double bed upstairs, so the 3 of us, that's going to be a problem. Just really quick, I do have 7 skill points in here from all that mining that I was doing, as well as things that I killed. I'm going to increase my luck a bit more, my constitution a little bit more, my strength a little bit more, and I'll put 1 more on luck. Okay, so now that we've got a bunch of pewter, because well, actually it's smelting here, let me take it out. There we go. I've got a bunch of pewter in these blast furnace because they are quite fast with the smeltings. That's gonna help us out a bunch. Oh, Enchanted Ash, that was another thing we're going to need. Don't go too crazy with this. You don't need a lot of this to start with, but it does go in a blast furnace. I tried it in a regular furnace. It does not seem to work. So in a blast furnace, though, you get Enchanted Ash, and you get 2 for 1 with bones. So that should be more than enough to get me started. And those are some of the base things that you'll need. I have not obtained any of the stuff, well, not a lot of the drops from mobs. I did get a zombie heart here, which can be used in some rituals, making Essence of Death, for example, or a glass hand, but we're not going to go that route, at least not yet. What we're going to make is these items here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do a whole bunch of this stuff here. So let's start off at the top. Simple enough, some pewter, block of coal, and some sticks. I'm also going to make a bunch of stone hands, which are going to be very useful. Actually, let's make a couple of those at least. It's going to be very useful for making the rituals work. I'm going to need at least a few of those, and a necrotic focus will be useful at some point. But for that we need a pewter inlay, which thankfully is just 4 more pewter. Let's make 2 sets of those, and then this necrotic focus will be useful, as well as taking a bunch of this and making one of these, a crucible. Of course I'm going to need to heat that crucible with a campfire underneath it, and it doesn't hurt to make just about everything that you possibly can. An apothecary stand, for example, is pretty darn handy. This is the same as a regular brewing stand, except you don't need blaze powder for it to work, but it does not allow you to increase the duration or the strength of potions that you make. So it can be very useful if you don't have access to blaze powder. And then you're probably wondering, well, what's the point then? I still need netherwort. Well, you actually don't. You need sprouting fungus, which can substitute for netherwort in an apothecary stand only, which is made by tossing in a mushroom and doing a whole bunch of sequence of stuff with the Crucible, which I have not gotten into yet. I will cover that soon. Oh, I remember now. It wasn't the Enchanted Ash. It was the rotten flesh that I had a problem with making tallow. So let me take a couple of these and make a whole bunch of candles in the blast furnace. And I'm just happy that the Enchanted Ash was really quick to make. This makes 1 tallow, and you don't need a lot, because just a little bit goes a long way. For example, 2 of this, 2 of those makes 8 candles. Now candles are similar to torches, except you cannot place them on the wall unless you have them in a holder and make a candlestick, which does require arcane gold nuggets and stuff. Then you can place them on a wall. But otherwise, they can be useful for what we're going to be doing shortly. We're going to be making an altar, but first we need some planks. Then we need to take some of this, add some legs on the table. There we go. We now have 6 pieces for a wooden altar. We're also going to make a magic workbench. This is going to be pretty darn useful for making a lot of stuff. Yes, I'm making a whole ton of things. We're going to place all these together in one room. We're still going to need at least 1 more item, and that's going to be a straw effigy. There we go. And now I've got a whole slew of different items, but we're kind of shy on a few other key ingredients. Namely, we're going to need to harness some, well, creatures. And in order to do so, we're going to need a brazier plus stone hand, at least 2 of them nearby for what we're about to do. We're going to be harnessing some of the undead, and I will save all the rest of this stuff for a little area that I think we could probably use. I was looking over here, and there's a location very close by, right here, that looks like it would work out quite well for just kind of like a little bit of a ritual area. I might clean it out a bit and see what I can do with repurposing this building. Well, let's put this necrotic focus on the wall for now. We're also going to put a couple stone hands near it, but we're going to keep 2 more for what we've got in mind with the brazier. And there we go. I feel like I need to do something a little bit more ornate to make this kind of work better. Probably add some like fences or walls or something to make it hold this thing up, but you're definitely going to be needing access to water for this. There we go. I now have a little water source nearby. And if I right click on here, I can fill it up, and shortly it will start boiling. And this can be used to make all manner of things, but you do have to use it in a very special way. And we'll set up the table. Let's start with our centerpiece, the effigy. This is going to be the most basic thing we can come up with. On top of that, we're going to add a candle. Now, if you want to know what the idea is behind all these, you can actually look in here under Theurgy, and you'll see that there's some information about the effigy, the altar itself, and the different things you can do. Now there's altar lighting, and it will take the most powerful, or it will take the highest value of any of this stuff on here. So in this case, if I put a candle, like I did here, it will give me 2 power. But if I put a lantern, it will not increase it to a 3rd power. It will take the 2 power, but it will give me the 1 capacity as well. So by combining a candle and a lantern on there, I can get 1 capacity and 2 power. Now going with altar skulls, you have your options of skeleton skulls, zombie heads, and wither skeletons. Now I was lucky enough to get a couple zombie heads from one of those quark mob spawners earlier, which adds a capacity and power. It's not as strong as the skeleton skull, and it's the only one I have at the moment, or else I'd totally do something better. But then there's also altar herbs that you can put on here. Now this requires, of course, going to the nether or just getting really lucky with some kind of drops or something and getting any number of these. But I don't have access to any of those yet, so we're just going to make do with what we've got. Put a little zombie head here and a lantern back here, and it's doing pretty good. So next thing you need to do, start praying. Now, if you don't know what they are, you can look up on Theurgy here and continue reading down the list. Dark Prayer. It tells you this is all you can do. That's the only one that you know. So you go to Mystical Signs, and this is the symbol it was showing 3 of. If you want to learn about it, you can click on here and it will tell you. But otherwise, I'm going to click back here, click there, 3 times, and it will tell you what you've got here. And then when you're ready to do the chant, you just click here. If you want to cancel it, just click that. But otherwise, there you go. And about once a day, you can do this. If you do it any more frequently than that, you'll hear that sizzling sound instead, and nothing will happen. And as you progress with these different chants, you'll increase your stats with your dark savior, as it is, and eventually they'll unlock different abilities in your book, new powers and different prayers that you could potentially do, giving you access to bigger and better things. Okay, so one of the things I want to make is going to be a goblet. That requires Arcane Gold ingots. These are not made too easily. But if I go back to the Artifice chapter, you can see that there's Arcane Gold ingots here. This requires the use of the Crucible, which does require redstone. In this case, it's called redstone wire because of the color change options you can use with it, and soul shards to start with before we're able to add in some gold ingots. So we're going to need to get soul shards. How do we get those? Well, we kill some undead, of course. If you look under rituals, there is a crystallization ritual with that little same icon. And you'll need a couple redstone and a bone meal, plus you'll need a flint and steel to light the thing. So things I'm taking with me now: redstone, bone meal, flint and steel, a brazier, and 2 stone hands, because these stone hands are going to hold the redstone, and the bone meal will be placed in the brazier, and then we will light it on fire near undead. Where are we gonna find undead? Alright, so here's the strategy. I remove the torches and let things go absolutely crazy. I currently have the little setup out here. I think it'll reach far enough if they come over to this ledge. I don't know. But for now, I'm also going to light some fires so that I could set myself on fire. Dude, stop following me. You're gonna get yourself killed. Alright, this is just to temporarily keep the room lit while I'm getting all my stuff, and then I can get out. There we go, and if I need to, I can actually open up that area there. But I think, yeah, that did it. They're all there. Hi guys, come on over. How you doing? I'd like to get a few more of you over here if possible. Can I do that? Hey everybody, perfect. Okay, so we're getting a good sized group over here now. And they're all fighting amongst themselves, which I'm a fan of. I just click on here, and then hopefully everything in the area gets killed. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. So let's get in quick. Grab all the stuff. Hopefully I didn't burn up too much of it. Get back out. Cool. Alright, that worked pretty good. Might do that a few more times, just so that I can get a few more items. What did I get? I got 24 soul shards from that one. Wow, that's pretty good. There are other ways of getting soul shards with weapons and tools from this. The Reaper's Scythe is one. But that does require an unholy symbol and some tattered cloth that drops from one of those wraiths that we saw earlier. Yeah, a little bit more progression in the mod, but for now, this seems to work pretty good. Hey, look at that. I waited enough time that I've unlocked the blood sign. With all this set up, it's kind of amplified things a little bit for me. And to see it, you just open up your Mystical Signs page, and there it is. Now, how does this get used? Well, first you can read about it if you want, but if you go into Theurgy, you now have a new option, sacrifice animal, which you then need to have probably some kind of vanilla animal nearby within 1 block of, well, you guessed it, a goblet. It is made with Arcane Gold, as I mentioned before, required soul shards. I seem to have quite a few now, so I just need some redstone, some gold ingots, and soul shards, plus a bit of water, and I'll be good. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do, get up on top of the Crucible is probably the safest way to go. If you're on a server with a whole bunch of lag, good luck. If not, well, this will probably work a little bit easier for you. But let's see the recipe. Step 1 is 2 redstone and a soul shard. Make sure to put them in at the same time, or as close to the same time as you can. So I'm going to do a bit of this, where I throw it all in quickly, you wait, and it will turn colors. All the ingredients that were sitting in there will determine what happens in there. Now I might be waiting a little too long. Yes, I think I did. So you can see how this is a little bit finicky to actually get it to work properly. So let's start that off again with 2 redstone and a soul shard. Then 2 gold ingots. And you know it works when you get arcane gold ingots into your inventory. You'll need to do that at least twice. Now you might think you need to use the magic workbench at this point, but you actually don't. The goblet is relatively entry-level stuff, so you still get to use it in a normal fashion. Then you can put it on here, and we'll actually increase the power and everything of your altar once again. Now, if you are to make an animal sacrifice for this goblet to fill up with the blood that you need, you'll need to have the animal within a block of this goblet. So you're going to want to make sure that it's not going anywhere, or that it is really close by when you kill it. Alright, so let's try making that void amulet I was trying to make. We'll start off with a basic amulet. Thankfully, that's just made in a regular crafting table. Now we go into the magic crafting table. Requires the pewter inlay, pewter ingot, obsidian, that basic amulet I just made, and a couple soul shards. There we go, 1 void amulet, and it absorbs projectiles occasionally. It does take about 10 seconds to replenish once it has activated, but otherwise, it's nice to have a little bit of extra protection against those skeletons if I don't have my shield up. Alright, and I think with that, we're probably going to call it here. I know that I was saying we'd get into more Evilcraft today, but I think I used up a lot of time with the Eidolon. I think next time we'll do a little bit more of Eidolon, or of Evilcraft rather than Eidolon, and we'll jump into a bit of cooking so that I can get myself some really good buffs, as well as heading into another dimension, namely the Undergarden, so that we can get ourselves a DNA sampler to start mass producing mob drops. All the while completing different challenges that this guy is standing on. While I'm gone, in between, I'm probably going to be completing more of these rewards, like this one here, 17 potatoes for a penny. Sounds good to me. A bunch of emeralds and bread for some melons. That sounds good too. We've got a whole bunch. I don't think I've got enough beetroots for that, but you never know. But I think that I'm going to just continue on with these bounties, getting a bunch of little grindy stuff in the meantime, and maybe even collecting a bunch of phantom parts, so that I might have a chance of getting a wings potion. But if you do want to see more, please continue clicking like, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, making sure that you come back in the future. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to do all of those and more. You can come visit us on Twitch. Till next time, folks, I'm going to get out of this rain. I'll see you.